King Janus felt his alien blood boil as the impudent human captain dared to challenge his superior Binar intellect. Binar warships loomed over the remnants of the human fleet, weapons primed to exterminate the last of the hairless apes who dared resist the Empire's might. The stench of charred flesh and molten steel hung in the void of space, grim reminders of the once thriving human colonies, now reduced to ash by the Binar's unprovoked onslaught. On the bridge of his battered starship, Captain Joseph Bailey stood defiant against the overwhelming odds. He knew that the fate of humanity rested on his shoulders. If he failed here, the Binars would enslave every man, woman, and child left in the galaxy. The comms crackled to life as King Janus's sneering visage filled the viewscreen. "You pathetic humans and your primitive toys are no match for the glory of the Binar Empire," Janus gloated. "Surrender now and I may show mercy. Resist, and I will take great pleasure in eradicating your species to the last mewling infant." Bailey's knuckles whitened as he gripped the command console. He had seen firsthand the cruelty the Binars inflicted on their captives during their campaign of conquest. Surrender was not an option. "Mercy from you?" Bailey spat. "I'd sooner take my chances with an angry warp beast, but I have a counteroffer, Your Majesty." Janus's brow ridge twitched at the human's audacity. "You dare bargain with me, ape?" "I do. I challenge you to a battle of wits, Janus, a series of strategic games. If I win, you leave human space forever. If you win, I'll hand over the access codes to every remaining human world and colony." The Binar King burst into laughter, his fangs glinting in the harsh light of the bridge. "You think you can outwit me, human? Very well. I accept your pathetic challenge. But when you lose, I will mount your head on my throne as a testament to your species' stupidity." Bailey allowed himself a tight smile as he cut the transmission. The games were about to begin, and the future of the human race hung in the balance. He prayed his unorthodox gambit would pay off, for if he failed, there would be nothing left to stop the Binars from exterminating humanity, down to the last child. The virtual simulation of the space battle flickered to life, bathing the room in an eerie glow. Joseph took his place at the helm of his digital fleet, his fingers flying across the control panel as he input commands. Janus sneered from his own station, confident in his superior technology and tactical prowess. As the battle commenced, Joseph drew upon every ounce of his military knowledge and experience. He feinted and dodged, employing unconventional maneuvers that caught Janus off guard. The Binar King's ships, though technologically advanced, found themselves outflanked and outgunned by Joseph's creative tactics. Explosions lit up the virtual battlefield as Joseph's fleet tore through Janus's defenses. The human captain's unorthodox strategies proved too much for the Binar's rigid adherence to traditional warfare. In a matter of minutes, Joseph had decimated Janus's fleet, leaving the alien ruler fuming with rage and humiliation. "A fluke," Janus snarled, slamming his fist against the console. "You will not be so lucky in a game of my choosing, human." The Binar King selected multidimensional chess, a game so complex that it incorporated elements of probability, game theory, and spatial reasoning. Janus had never been defeated in this game, and he was certain that the human stood no chance against his superior intellect. As the game began, Joseph found himself facing a dizzying array of pieces and dimensions, but he refused to be intimidated. He studied the board intently, analyzing every possible move and counter-move. Hours passed as the two opponents locked in a battle of wits. Janus grew increasingly frustrated as Joseph matched him move for move, anticipating his strategies and countering them with brilliant plays of his own. In the end, after a grueling 5-hour match, Joseph emerged victorious. Janus sat back in his chair, stunned and humiliated by the human's unexpected triumph. Janus slammed his fist against the console, his eyes burning with rage. "You dare accuse me of cheating?" he snarled, his fangs bared. "I will not stand for such insolence, human. I demand a final challenge to prove the superiority of the Binar race once and for all." Joseph met Janus's gaze unflinching. "Name your challenge, Janus. I'm not afraid." The Binar King sneered. "A test of engineering and scientific prowess. Each side will be tasked with solving a series of complex mathematical equations and designing a revolutionary new weapon system within a limited time frame. We shall see if your primitive human intellect can match the might of the Binar Empire. Joseph nodded, a glint of determination in his eyes. I accept your challenge, Janus. May the best team win. Janus assembled a team of the Binar's most brilliant scientists and engineers, confident that their advanced technology and vast knowledge would guarantee victory. The Binar team gathered in their state-of-the-art laboratory, surrounded by sleek, high-tech equipment and glowing holographic displays. Meanwhile, Joseph carefully selected a diverse group of human experts from various fields, each bringing a unique set of skills and perspectives to the table. The human team set up their workspace in a repurposed cargo bay, making do with whatever equipment they could salvage from the battered remnants of their fleet. As the challenge began, the two teams delved into the complex equations and design specifications. The Binar team, with their advanced computational systems and vast databases, made swift progress. They tackled the problems with a rigid, methodical approach, relying on established formulas and proven techniques. The human team, however, took a different approach. They broke into smaller groups, each focusing on a specific aspect of the challenge. Engineers huddled around makeshift workstations, sketching out rough designs and bouncing ideas off one another. Mathematicians scribbled equations on whiteboards, their minds racing as they sought unconventional solutions. Joseph moved from group to group, encouraging his team and offering insights. He watched as the human experts began to think laterally, combining seemingly unrelated concepts and approaching the problems from unexpected angles. A physicist and a biologist worked together to devise a novel propulsion system, inspired by the movement of microscopic organisms. A mathematician and a materials scientist collaborated on a groundbreaking alloy that could withstand extreme temperatures and pressures. As the hours ticked by, the human team's progress accelerated. They developed innovative solutions to the equations, their collective knowledge and creativity pushing them to new heights. The weapon design began to take shape, a sleek and deadly creation that far surpassed anything the Binars had ever seen. In contrast, the Binar team found themselves struggling. Their rigid adherence to established norms and dismissal of unorthodox ideas hindered their progress. They hit roadblocks and dead ends, their frustration mounting as the deadline loomed ever closer. With mere minutes remaining, Joseph's team put the finishing touches on their work. They gathered around a central holographic display, their faces etched with a mix of exhaustion and pride. The deadline arrived, and the two teams presented their solutions to Janus and a panel of Binar judges. The human team's work was met with stunned silence, the elegance and ingenuity of their designs undeniable. The Binar team's presentation, in comparison, fell flat, their solutions appearing clunky and uninspired, next to the groundbreaking work of the humans. Janus's face contorted with rage and disbelief as the judges declared the human team the clear victors. He turned to Joseph, his eyes blazing with hatred. "This is not over, human," Janus growled, his voice dripping with venom. "You may have won this battle, but the war is far from over. The Binar Empire will not rest until every last one of your kind is wiped from the face of the galaxy." Joseph met Janus's gaze, his expression resolute. "Bring it on, Janus. Humanity will never surrender. We'll fight you to the last breath, and we will prevail. Your reign of terror ends here." The tension in the room was palpable as the two leaders stared each other down, the fate of their respective races hanging in the balance. Janus's eyes narrowed as he faced the undeniable truth of his defeats. The human captain had bested him at every turn, proving the tenacity and ingenuity of his species. A bitter taste filled Janus's mouth as he grudgingly acknowledged Joseph's victories. But the Binar King's pride and ego rebelled against the notion of surrendering to a race he considered beneath him. The thought of losing control over his empire, of being seen as weak by his subjects, gnawed at his very core. In a fit of desperate treachery, Janus turned to his second-in-command. "Open fire on the human fleet, now!" "But, sire, the terms of the agreement—" "I am your king," Janus roared, spittle flying from his fangs. "You will obey me or face the consequences." The Binar officer swallowed hard and relayed the order. Within seconds, the Binar warships unleashed a barrage of plasma cannons and quantum torpedoes, tearing through the void of space toward the unsuspecting human vessels. On the bridge of his ship, Joseph's eyes widened as the sensors blared in warning. "Evasive maneuvers!" he shouted, gripping the armrests of his chair. "Divert power to shields!" The human fleet scattered, their ships banking and weaving to avoid the onslaught. Explosions bloomed in the darkness as several vessels took direct hits, their hulls buckling under the immense force. Joseph's mind raced as he assessed the situation. Janus had betrayed their agreement, launching an unprovoked attack, but the human captain had an ace up his sleeve. "Activate the Prometheus weapon system," he ordered, his voice steady despite the chaos erupting around him. Deep within the bowels of Joseph's ship, the revolutionary weapon stirred to life. Born from the brilliant minds of the human engineering team, the Prometheus system harnessed the power of artificial gravity and quantum entanglement to create a devastating effect. A series of pulsing energy beams lanced out from Joseph's ship, striking the nearest Binar warships with pinpoint accuracy. The targeted vessels shuddered and twisted, their hulls warping and crumpling as the Prometheus system disrupted their molecular structure. One by one, the mighty Binar ships imploded, reduced to clouds of shimmering debris. The rest of the human fleet rallied around Joseph's ship, their own weapons blazing to life. Guided by the groundbreaking targeting algorithms developed during the scientific challenge, the human vessels worked in perfect synchronicity, their firepower coordinated to maximize damage and minimize risk. The Binars, caught off guard by the sudden display of advanced human technology, struggled to mount an effective defense. Their rigid tactics and inflexible strategies faltered in the face of Joseph's adaptive approach. As the battle raged on, the tide began to turn in favor of the human fleet. Joseph's tactical brilliance shone through as he directed his ships to exploit weaknesses in the Binar formation, outmaneuvering and outgunning the enemy at every turn. On board the Binar flagship, Janus watched in disbelief as his warships fell one by one, their once invincible might crumbling before the ingenuity and determination of the human race. The Binar king's fists clenched, his rage and humiliation burning hotter than the plasma fires engulfing his fleet. "All ships fall back," Janus snarled through gritted fangs. "Regroup and prepare for—" The command died on his lips as Joseph's ship, flanked by a formation of human vessels, broke through the Binar defensive line. The sleek human crafts bore down on Janus's flagship, their weapons locked and primed. As the battle reached its crescendo, Janus slammed his fist on the arm of his command chair, the metal denting under the force of his blow. The view screen showed Binar warships erupting into fireballs as the human vessels tore through their ranks, Joseph's innovative tactics and groundbreaking technology turning the tide of the conflict. "This cannot be happening," Janus growled, his eyes darting across the tactical display. "We are the superior race. We cannot lose to these primitives." His second-in-command, a lean Binar with a jagged scar across his brow, turned to face his king. "Sire, our forces are in disarray. The humans have outmaneuvered us at every turn. We must consider a tactical retreat and regroup." "Retreat?" Janus roared, leaping to his feet. "I will not flee from these hairless apes. I am King Janus, ruler of the Binar Empire, and I will not be humiliated by these inferior creatures." His gaze fell upon Joseph's ship, a gleaming beacon amidst the chaos of the battle. A cruel smile spread across Janus's face as a desperate plan took shape in his mind. "Helmsman, set a collision course for the human flagship," Janus ordered, his voice dripping with malice. "We will ram their ship and take out their leader. Without him, the human fleet will crumble." On the bridge of his own vessel, Joseph's eyes narrowed as he watched the Binar flagship change course, its massive bulk turning to face his ship head-on. "He's going to ram us," Joseph said, his voice calm despite the impending danger. "He's desperate, and he knows it's his only chance to win." Joseph's first officer, a grizzled veteran with a neatly trimmed beard, shook his head. "Captain, we can't let him do this. If he takes out our ship, it could turn the tide of the battle." A flicker of a smile crossed Joseph's face. "Don't worry, Commander, I have a plan." He turned to face his crew, his expression resolute. "Initiate evacuation procedures. Get everyone to the escape pods now." The bridge erupted into a flurry of activity as the crew rushed to carry out Joseph's orders. He watched them go, pride swelling in his chest at their bravery and dedication. Once the last of his crew had escaped, Joseph turned his attention back to the view screen. The Bynarr flagship loomed ever closer, its weapons firing relentlessly as it bore down on his ship. With a few quick keystrokes, Joseph overrode the safety protocols and locked the ship's navigation controls. He set a course directly for the heart of the Bynarr vessel, a collision that would surely destroy both ships. "Janus," Joseph said, his voice echoing through the empty bridge. "You may have started this war, but I'm going to finish it. For humanity, for freedom, and for every life you've taken in your cruel conquest." He closed his eyes, his thoughts turning to his crew, his family, and the countless billions who were counting on him. With a final deep breath, Joseph braced himself for impact. The two ships collided in a blinding flash of light, the force of the explosion tearing through the void of space. Metal twisted and buckled as the vessels merged, their hulls shattered by the sheer kinetic energy of the impact. For a brief, terrible moment, the two ships became one, a twisted mass of debris and flames. And then they were gone, consumed by the fiery cataclysm. The human fleet watched in stunned silence as the explosion faded, leaving only a field of glittering debris where their flagship and the Bynarr vessel had once been. For a heartbeat, time seemed to stand still, the weight of Joseph's sacrifice hanging heavy in the air. Then as one, the human ships surged forward, their weapons blazing with renewed purpose. Joseph's selfless act had galvanized them, fueling their determination to see the battle through to the end. The Bynarrs, their morale shattered by the loss of their king and his flagship, fell into disarray. Their formations crumbled, their ships scattering before the onslaught of the human fleet. One by one, the Bynarr vessels fell, picked off by the coordinated fire of the human ships. The once mighty alien armada, which had set out to conquer and enslave humanity, was reduced to a handful of battered ships, fleeing before the might of the human fleet. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.